All right, test 2, part 1, page 2 of 3 of this digital SAT practice test. Let's hit it. Of course, you're taking a digital exam. Why are we doing this on paper? Because it's great to practice on paper, and then about a week before the test, you can practice using a digital practice test from collegeboard.com. Let's get into the sucker right now. Question number 11, how do we break this down? I notice I got 4x plus 2, and it equals 12, and then I go on down yonder. It says, what is the value of 16x plus 8? Typically with these questions, they're going to be beautifully drawn out for you to recognize something. I'm going to put the 4x plus 2 right below. Let me erase that green line there. I don't want you to think I'm dividing. But I would, if I were you, try to see if you have any ratios. You got 8 to 2. Isn't that a 4 to 1 ratio? And then you got the 16 to 4. Isn't that also a 4 to 1 ratio? Yeah, all day long. So if 4x plus 2 does equal 12, like they said over here, doesn't that mean that upstairs we're also going to have a what? A 4 to 1 ratio. So what is 4 times 12? That's going to equal 48. So therefore, that is the best answer. Ooh, dirty, right? All right, that's a smart way of doing the question. If you've practiced well enough, getting ready for the test, let's say you took a good 5-6 weeks, 8 to 10, no more than 10. If you do more than 10, it's overkill, unless that's your plan. If you develop a plan where you want to practice 10, 12, 14, 15 weeks because you're a very busy student, all right, so be it. But when you start practicing, you're going to start to notice holes in this test or predictabilities in the test. Most students are going to solve for x. For x, we subtract 2 from both sides, we're going to get 10, so therefore x equals 10 over 4. Sometimes they might just reduce it to 5 over 2. Then I'm going to take that 5 over 2 and plug it into here to get 16 times over 1 times 5 over 2, but we cannot forget to add the plus 8. So this would be our first step right here. See how it's sucking up time? Reduce that by 1, take that and turn it into an 8. What is 5 times 8? 5 times 8 is 40. Do not forget to add the 8, and your answer is still going to be 48. So you decide on which way you want to work it. I love the ratios. I love proportions because this test is loaded with them. Question number 12. Advanced math quadratic context. So they're testing the context of quadratic equations. They're not really testing whether you are very familiar in how to solve something. So let's take a look. They're giving us numbers, which gives us the assumption that we have to solve something. But let's go into the question. The object is kicked from platform. They said a platform, not from the ground. So get familiar with that. The equation h is equal to total height is equal to all this formula business. Now remember some of the basics, right? What is your A value and your B value and your C value? Your C value is always your y-intercept, right? But you have your A. Notice your A value is a negative 4.9. It's a negative parabola. So if I were to draw this, just to give you a general idea of what this is, let's say our y-intercept is 9. So this object that's kicked from a platform, that 9 is your platform from which, let's say, a red ball is being kicked. Somebody kicks that ball, whoop, whoop, and they kick the ball. It's going to go up, and then it's going to drop down, bang, to the ground. So at the ground, the height is 0. But at your platform, your height is 9. Now, we can also imagine this parabola stretching going this way. They're not describing that to us. So the platform's at 9, and the rest of it, you guys get it. Remember your vertex or your maximum? Little ding-dong stuff about parabolas. Let's continue reading the question. Where the height of the object above the ground in meters, t seconds. So your variable t is all about the seconds. So if we plugged in a second like 0, what if we said at 0 seconds, where would this ball be? It's going to be where? At the, right there, y-intercept at 9, if you plugged in t equals 0. So anyhow, which number, now we go into the rest of the question, which number represents the height in meters from which the object was kicked? They should have put the word originally kicked. Didn't we say it started at 9? So therefore, that's your best answer. Why? Because that is your y-intercept. And that's it when t equals 0. Question number 13. Here we go. The given equation. We notice that this is also a parabola. Whenever you see an x squared, you're dealing with parabola. And it's a positive parabola. Oh, what's the y-intercept? Oh, it crosses at 126, whatever that is, feet, meters, inches. Who cares? Given the equation defines the given equation defines a function f for what value of x does f of x reach its minimum. Oh, remember this one? We said that blue dot right there is the maximum. That is, at that maximum, that is the highest value of y on your xy coordinate plane. Now the minimum, because we're dealing with a positive parabola, I'll draw a small positive parabola. Let's say our positive parabola looks something like this. right? Let's say this point right here is your 126. I'm exaggerating it. 126. What's going to be your lowest point or your minimum? Your lowest point or your minimum, that's where your y value is at its lowest on the y-axis. All the other values of y are going to be higher than the minimum that you find at its vertex. In this case, they're saying for what value of x does f of x reach its minimum? Okay, this question number 13 is a little slick. You have a couple of steps to do. First of all, remember we have our A value, our B value, and our C value. With this type of question, get familiar. What we're going to do is we're going to divide that negative 50 by 2. Why by 2? Because I said so. Always do it by 2. It's almost like, there's a term. Oh, what is it called? Completing the square? I think it's called, is it completing the square? I forget. Anyhow, what's a negative 50 over 2? That's going to be a negative, what? Just a negative 50 over 2, which is also negative 25. You guys got that so far? Okay, when we got negative 25, the next step that we have to do is we have to take that 4 and divide your negative 25 by 4. And that's pretty much it. All right, now remember that when we're completing the square, this is almost like looking for your vertex formula. It would look like this so far for your vertex formula. But if we were to set that to equal 0, right? If we took x minus 25 over 4, set it to equal 0, what is x going to equal? It's going to equal a positive 25 over 4. Dig it? This is your answer to your question. But Mr. Alberto, it's kind of weird. I'm not even sure. All right, first of all, when they talk about the minimum, they're pretty much talking about your what? Your vertex. So if we took the original formula and start looking for your vertex formula, what you do with the b value is divided by 2, and then whatever your a value, you would divide that by that also. Or you could recognize it as dealing with, let's see, that's it. Negative 50 divided by 2, negative 25, then you divide both sides by the a value, which is your 4. You guys got that? Not too bad, not too shabby. Question number 14. A small business owner budgets $2,200 to purchase candles. All right, cool. We got this amount of money. A lot of students are going to get intimidated by this because there are no answer choices, so you have to follow the formula. So let's deal with our money. Let me shrink this to the side. I'm going to take $2,200, and then we're buying candles. Now, notice what's going to happen. More than likely, they're going to give us two parts. The owner must purchase a minimum of 200 candles. All right, so we have a total of $2,200, and we have a total of 200 candles. There's always two parts. One deals with money, and the other one's going to deal with units. Okay, and also it says the minimum of 200 candles, so it's got to be equal to or greater than 200. The other one says he budgets $2,200, so he can't spend more than $2,200. It's going to be equal to less than $2,200. Just basic ding-dong stuff that you recognize in the first two sentences. Now, the next sentence. If the owner pays $4.90 per candle to purchase small candles. Oh, so we got small candles. And since we're dealing with money, how much are they? I'm going to put it on the same line as the $2,200. They said $4.90. You know they're going to say something else, right? What's the other something else? Let's go with yellow. And $11.60 per candle to purchase large candles. So now we have large candles involved. And how much are they? $11.60. All right, we set up the first formula. Then obviously if we have downstairs, what is this giving us? Units. Now we're going to have to deal with units. Well, how many small plus large candles were sold, right? It's going to have to be equal to or greater than 200, but we'll set on 200 because that's what they gave us, the minimum number. Now the stupid question is asking, what is the maximum number of large candles the owner can purchase to stay within the budget and maintain the discount pricing? So we're going to have to solve for L. In this case, you have your two equations. The upstairs deals with dollars, the downstairs deals with units. Now they want us to solve for L, the number of large candles. All right, so how do we solve this? We're going to get rid of the small candles. So we have to kill the small candles. So downstairs, we're going to substitute 490 all the way across, because if I multiply everything downstairs by 490, right, 490, and then what is 200 times 490? 200 times 4.9 equals 980. So now your 200 becomes 980. Got it? All right, why do we do this? Because we have to get rid of the small candles. How do we get rid of it? We'll subtract it. What is 490s minus 490s? Whoop, disappears. All right, now what is 1160 minus 490 going to equal? That will equal 670. And what are they? 670 large candles. Then we're going to subtract 980 from 2200. And that equals 1220. How do we solve for L? We're going to divide 670 by both sides. We kill that 670 over here. See, this is just testing your mechanics. So what is 1220 divided by 670? Now, the expectation is that you're going to come out with a nice juicy number, right? So now L equals 182.089552. They give you 6 boxes in which you can write your answer. So how do you write this answer? So some students are going to do it the wrong way. They'll be like, all right, I guess I have to fill out all the boxes, 0.0, and they might round it 0.9. It's going to be wrong. Take a careful look at the question. It's saying, what is the maximum number of large candles the owner can purchase to stay within the budget and maintain the discounted pricing? All right, we did answer the question correctly, but here's the problem. Students are going to focus on this guy right here. Can you really purchase 0.089552 of a candle? No, it's the number of whole candles. So your answer is 182. You can ignore all that. So they really want it in whole number form, 182 candles, because you really can't purchase less than 10% of a candle. So therefore your answer is 182. So students, they answering the question correctly, they do get the true answer with the decimal, but then they don't know how to apply it to the actual answer they're given. So get very familiar with this question, especially when they're asking for the maximum number of people, maximum number of cars, maximum number of computers. You can't just have part of a computer or part of people, unless you chop them all up. Oh, no, that sounds weird. All right, next question, 15. In the linear equation, so they're saying it's a y equals mx plus b question, but they're not giving us the formulas. Oh, where do we see them? We see them in the answers. When we see the answers given as formulas, we don't have to think too much. We basically just have to read the question to match which one of the formulas matches with exactly they're giving us. So here they said f of 0 equals x, which means that x and y are given to us. I'll do a T-grid. When we put x equals 0, our answer in that formula is going to be 8. But if I put 1 into the formula, our answer is going to be 12. You guys get it? So which one of the following answers works with this? I'll try B immediately. I know that 4 times 1 does not equal 12. So if I plug in 1, I must get 12, so B is out. We could try the one downstairs. 4 times 1 plus 12 is not going to equal 12. That would, again, not equal 12, so we can kill C. What about, well, let's go upstairs. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 plus 8, does that equal 12? No, that does not equal 12. Now notice what I did. I jumbled in the middle and then went up. With these type of questions, always work from the bottom up. You might just save yourself a lot of time. If I did 4 times 1, that would equal 4 plus 8. Would that equal 12? Yes, so our answer is D. So questions like these, try to create your T-grid and then work your answers from the bottom up. And that's really it. Next question. Oh, and notice, instead of using 0, I used 1 first. So let's say they gave us, I don't know, let's say they gave us 2, and they gave us 16, they gave us 3, and they gave us 20. I would work these from the bottom up with plugging in my answers from the bottom up. That's a good tip because usually you run into your answer a lot faster. All right, question number 16. Again, we see the answer choices, a bunch of yada yada. Let's go into the question. All we have to do is match up the English to the math and the words. So there's a function of 6w squared. It gives the area of a rectangle in square feet. Now, all right, so with this, I might just draw a rectangle just to have some perspective. They said that the area is 6w squared. All right, cool. So I like writing my area in the middle of the image. If it's a perimeter, I'll write it on the outside. It's my own little system. Now the rest of it. If its width is w feet, okay, and its length is 6 times its width, so that interpreted means if its width is w feet and the length is 6 times w, there you go. And also, if you notice, what is w times 6w? It's going to equal 6w squared. So we're good. We're on good footing now. Now the rest of the question. Which of the following is the best interpretation of f of 14? Remember they said it's f of w, and then they told us that w is in feet, so it's the width. 14 has to be the width. W is width. So if you plug in 14, that has to be 14 is equal to the width. All right, let's go into it. Let's go with our answers from where? The bottom up or top down? Always the bottom up when it's wordy. D says, if the width of the rectangle is 1,176, no, we said it was 14, so see you later. If the width of a rectangle is 1,000, no, we said it's 14, so see you later. B, if the width of the rectangle is 14 feet, thank you, so far so good, then the length of the rectangle is 1176. No, that wouldn't make sense, because if this is 14, then our length is going to be 6 times 14, and 1176 is way too big, so B is out. It looks like A is going to be our answer. Let's read it just in case. If the width of the rectangle is 14 feet, true, then the area of the rectangle is 1176. I believe it's going to be 1176. Now, you can prove it by just taking your 14 times 6W. Remember, that's W times 6W. So what's 6 times W? 6 times 14. So if you were to solve that, you would get 1176, and boom, boom, A is your answer. Let's go to question number 17. Ooh, we got some geometry. Remember circles. What do we know about circles? All circles have 360 degrees. We also notice that there is a line going, it looks like the center, out to its edge. That's known as the radius. And this is also the radius. And from here to here is a radius. And from here to here is a radius. Now, what's also cool is that when you have this happening with two lines that are intersecting one another, remember we have vertical angle rules. So whatever this angle is, it's going to be equal to that angle. Likewise, whatever the measurement up here is, because we have the same angle measurements, we're going to have the same length measurements also. The same applies with the other side, right? Whatever this angle is going to be equal to this angle, which means that if you have two interior angles that are the same on a circle, then that means the outer edge, whatever that measurement is going to be equal to that measurement. You get the game? Okay, now let's go into it. The figure's not drawn to scale. We like that. We accept that, because that means they have to give us enough information to answer the question. All right, here we go. The circle shown has a center O circumference. Oh, now they're saying that the circumference is 144 pi. So the measurement from, let's say, R all the way around, let's say they took a tape measure, and they said, oh, that measurement is equal to, I'll just put circ, is equal to 144 pi. We cool? All right, and then they say, the diameters, I'll do it in red, diameters PR and QS, we already marked them, right? PR and QS, they're marked. They're the lines that go through the center from one end to the other. They're diameters. And then they said that the length of arc PS, all right, the length of arc PS is twice the length. So where's PS? All right, all of this is twice the length. I'm going to put 2L for twice the length of arc PQ. So if it's twice the length of PQ, that means PQ is a length of L. Got it? And PS is 2L. Well, you got vertical angles. Remember, we said that that's 2L, and upstairs, that would be a vertical angle. That would be L. So let's count up our L's. We got 2, 3, 5, 6 L's. So that means that 144 pi is also in proportion to 6L, right? Right? The entire length going around is 144 pi, and the parts are 6L parts. We cool? Now they're asking, what is the length of QR? So QR is associated with what? What is associated in length? 2L. So what if I took my 2L down here? Then what would be the actual length? Ta-da, that would be your X. How do we solve this? All you have to do is really cross multiply, and you're pretty much done. 2 times 144, that's going to be 288. Let's put that pi right there, right? Can you put the L in there? You don't really have to put the L in there, but if you wanted to, you could put the L, and it's going to be equal to 6XL. Now, if we wanted to solve, right, if we want to solve for X, we can divide both sides by L. That's why I said you didn't have to put the L, because they're going to cancel out anyhow. So what's our next step? We're going to divide both sides by 6. So that cancels that 6 there. So now X is going to equal, how many times is 6 going to 28? It's going to be 4 times. So 28 minus 4, 24 is going to be a difference of 4. 4 goes, did I do that right? Oh, no, what am I talking about? 6 goes into 28 4 times. So you got 24, carry the 4, so 6 goes into 48. How many times? 8 times, so X equals 48. And do not forget that little pi right there. And boom, bam, boom, there's your answer. Everything's in proportions when you're dealing with circles. If you practice circles enough, you start to realize it's the easiest thing to fool around with, because you have rules that cannot be broken by either the SATs or ECTs. That includes triangles and squares, quads, and all that good stuff. Question number 18. A company that provides whale-watching tours takes groups of 21 people at a time. Okay, now I got groups, right? 21 people. Total 21 people. I got a hunch this is like question number 16. The company's revenue. Oh, here we go. We're talking about dollars. So here we're talking about people, right? And then all of a sudden we're talking about dollars. Oh, it's $80 per adult and $60 per child. Okay, so I'm going to put $80 per adult, and let me change the child to red, and $60 per child. But notice what I did, right? I used A for adult and C for child, but I did not put it where the 21 is. It's like I created a second line of notes, because one is going to be dealing with the number of people, right? That'd be number of adults plus children, and that will equal a total of 21 adults plus children. I just don't know how many adults and how many children, but I do know it costs $80 per adult and $60 per child. I just need to know how much is the total amount of money. Be patient. They're going to give it to you. Here we go. If the company's revenue for one group consisting of adults and children was $1,440, I'm putting my $1,440 right there. Oh, you know what? I'm going to slide this 21 a little bit to the side so I can stack the units digit, tens digit, and all that good stuff. Whoop. All right, now I'm set. Now I know they're going to ask me how many adults there were or how many children there were. And in this question, they're asking me what? How many children were there? So if I have to find out how many children I have going on a trip, who do I have to get rid of and throw overboard from the ship? I got to throw over the adults. So that means I'm going to multiply everything upstairs by 80 all the way across. So that's 80 times A is 80. 80 times C is 80C. What's 80 times 21? Right? That'll give you 1680. Here we go. 1680. Now what I do, remember what we did in question 16? Put a line, we're going to subtract, so the adults all get thrown off the ship. Now what's 80 minus 60C? That's going to equal 20C. And then what is 1680 minus 1440? See how they give you nice juicy numbers? So you're going to get 240. So let's just solve for C, for the number of children. How many times does 20 go into 24? One time. We carry the 4. How many times does 20 go into 40? 2 times. So what's the total number of children? 9. And as a side note, what's the total number of adults? Well, we got 21 total people going on a trip. Remember? 21 total people going on a trip. You got 12 children. So therefore, how many adults are you going to have? Subtract 12 from both sides, and you're going to get A equals 21 minus 12, which is 11 minus 2 is the 9, and that would be your answer for adults, and this is your answer for children. And notice they gave you bait in case you made a mistake and canceled out the number of children. But of course, we did not do that. That would be the number of adults. Instead, we need the number of children. Question number 19. They give us another function, h of x. We notice slope-intercept formula. Right? Your y-intercept is 28 and your slope is 4, and it's a positive slope line. Cool, basic stuff. The graph of y equals h of x in the xy plane has an x-intercept at, okay, x-intercept. So when you have an x-intercept, that's when y equals 0, and they're showing us we got that y equals 0 there. They just want to ask us, what is the x-intercept? And they said the y-intercept, I'll underline this one, the y-intercept, when they talk about y-intercept, that is when x equals 0. And notice they gave us an x equals 0 right there, where a and b are constants. When you see the word constants, that just means numbers. Don't be freaked out by that. So they want us to figure out what is the value of a plus b. All right, let me rewrite the equation. So we have 4x plus 28, and that is h of x. So which one do you want to solve for first? Let's solve for the y-intercept. So again, for the y-intercept, that is when x equals 0. So basically it's going to be h of 0 is now equal to 4 times, whoops, let me change that to blue. 4 times, and what's our x value? 0, and then plus 28. So what is that going to equal? So 4 times 0 is just 0, and then 0 plus 28 is 28. So when x equals 0, then our y is going to equal 28. Oh, for sure. So b, right there, our y-intercept is 0 and 28. So what is our b value? 28. So we solved that so far. A lot of students are going to make the mistake and bubble in B. That's not the question they're asking us. They're asking us, what is A plus B? We only solved for B so far, so that cannot be the answer. And then also notice, you could probably kill 21. Maybe you can kill 21. But what do we have to solve next? We have to solve the x-intercept, and that is when y equals 0. So let's go ahead and do that. So remember that this, h of x, always equals y. So we can actually take our 0 and plug it into the formula as 0 is now equal to 4x plus 28. All right, let's go ahead and solve. How do we solve for this? We're going to subtract 28 from both sides. That'd be a negative 28 is now equal to 4x. Then we're going to divide 4 by both sides. That would cancel this. So x equals, let me bring this down a bit, bring it closer to home. Bang. So now what does x equal? X is going to equal a negative 28 divided by 4, which would be a negative 7. Got it? So therefore, what is our a value? Our a is x equals a negative 7. But they're asking, what is a plus b? Our b equals 28. And we're going to add a negative 7. So what is 28 plus a negative 7 going to equal? That'd be 21. And oh, earlier I said maybe we could cross that out, but why not? Because sometimes your answers will come to negatives and then you have to go backwards a bit. So your answer is 21 when we add, oh, remember, I'm adding, I'm not multiplying. Bang, and that's it, 21. All right, last question, 20. One of the factors, blah, 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 is x plus b, where b is a positive constant. What we say about constants is just numbers, but they're saying one of the factors is going to be x plus b. All right, take a look at this. Take a look at this business right here. Take a look at all that stuff. What could we do? They're asking, what is the smallest possible value of b? All right, so we could take a look at all this and we could, let's see, I would rewrite it. See, this is a computer test, and I hate that you guys have to take this on computer as a digital exam plus 208 x. And they said one of the factors is going to be x plus b, where b is a positive constant. What is the smallest value of b? All right, good, cool. So let's go ahead and factor out something out of this. Notice I got this starting off with 2, and I got the x. I could factor 2x out of it. Yeah, if I factor the 2x out, bang. Now, what do I have left? I have x squared, right? How many times does 2x go into 2x cubed? That would be x squared. And what else do I have? Now, how many times does 2x go into this guy? So that would be 21 times. So I got a positive 21. Remember, it's x squared, so it's going to be x there. And then I have, how many times does 2x go into 208x? So the x is going to disappear. So basically, we're dividing 208 by 2. So that would be a plus 104. You with me so far? Okay, well, I'll set it to equal 0 because we're going to figure out what the x plus b's are. So we factor out the 2x. Now our next step is going to be to factor these guys and get our answer. So let me rewrite the 2x because I'm going to do another line. And this just takes a little bit of practice. Boop, set it to equal 0. So we know we're going to start off with an x here and an x there. And notice that's positive. That's going to be positive. So more than likely it's going to be positive and positive. Now we have to factor what is something times something that equals 104. But when you add them together, it's going to give you 21. We could go, I don't know, we could use 4. Does 4 go into this business right here? You could use 2. I'm going to try out 4 because they got to be numbers that will combine to equal 21. So how many times does 4 go into 10? That's going to be 2. So I'll say 4. And let's say we got 2. We got a 24. And that would be 6. So if we take a look at that and add those together, that would give us a high number of 30. We could try 6. Does 6 go into this? See, now, this is a question 20. These are designed to slow you down. Now, you're going to be able to use Desmos in your digital exam, so it might be easier to use that. I could take a look at 6 and plug it. I could take a look at 8. If I plugged in 8 into that, 8 goes into 104. It'll be 1 time, carry the 2 over it. We got 13. So it looks like 8 plus 13 would equal 21. So could it be an x plus 13 and an x plus 8? Yeah, because 13 times 8 is going to equal my 104. Thank you very much. And 13 plus 8 is going to equal 21. So I got it factored. What is the smallest possible value of b. Take a look. Now, a lot of students are going to accidentally do this. Oh, x plus 13 equals 0, so x equals a negative 13. Next mistake. X plus 8 equals 0, so x equals a negative 8. And also 2x equals 0, so x equals 0. What's the smallest number is going to be? It's a negative 13. Pause. Notice that, yes, you would be doing something correctly if they ask you for the smallest value of x, but they're not asking for the smallest value of x. They're asking for the smallest value of b when it's set up as x plus b. Ours, the smallest value is 8 is our smallest value. This is the answer to your question, 8. Why? Because we have an x plus 8, which means our smallest one is not going to be 13, and definitely has nothing to do with that, so 8 is the answer to this question. Pretty dirty, but now you know, going from easy to medium level questions, it kind of shifts here and there, and they're mostly playing games with you. Remember, you are taking a test, even if you got straight A's in school in math, or even if you got C minuses in math, algebra 1, geometry 1, you're still ready to take the test. The biggest problem that most students encounter is being familiar with the type of questions that they're dealing with. So again, if you have any questions, seeing this for the first time, you ran into this accidentally, you could text me 786-877-7231 and ask for additional documents, or ask about our classes. Or if you're in class and you still have any questions about the questions we just covered, bring it to class, we'll cover it, destroy it, and then move on to the next level. Peace.